Masterclass. Hey, Andrea. Okay, I feel like it's like Andrea squared today which we laugh about. The other day, she had someone at Starbucks write her name wrong on her cup. And I just thought, Andrea is a pretty normal name, but I don't think there's a lot of us. Like in Plexus, there's like 3 Jules I can think of that have the name Andrea. But we're both Andrea. You say it just like I do, right? Like you never say like Andrea.
I'm not fancy. No, I'm always like, I wish, but I'm not fancy. No, just Andrea.
When I was in elementary school, there was a girl, her name was Andrea, and I just remember I was like, she has like the pretty one.
Yeah.
My dad's name is Andrew, so I'm Andrea, and then my brother is Andrew, and he goes by Drew. Like my dad was obsessed with obviously his name. Like we're the version of George Foreman at our house.
You're like, yeah, I know. Everyone's like, is it Andrea? And I'm like, I really want to be like, yeah, it is Andrea, but I would not answer to that because that's not what I've been called, but I really wish it was.
And honestly, like my maiden name was so bad too that I was like, I'll answer to anything at this point. Like I don't care if you
Mine
call
was
me
too.
Andrea Roughton. Like fine, it is what it is.
My main name was so bad. I just always went with whatever they called me. I was like, that's it. Like, that's fine.
Sure, I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am excited about today. So Andrew and I talk very often on or in a small group like chat together with some other marketing people in like in the field. And so we get to talk on there a lot. And we talk numbers a lot because if you don't know, Andrea is has a gifting and a talent, God-given talent for graphics and visuals that I do not have. I have the ability to know that I like them, but I don't have the ability to create them. I think there's a difference in like aesthetically seeing something beautiful and being able to create something beautiful. So Andrea has a little group. It's not little, it's a huge group of people that get to use her graphics. And that is a gift to so many of us that don't have that skill set. But we get to talk numbers. So I love numbers. So I'll write out all the things. And she's like, I'll make a graphic if you'll tell me how
I
the numbers
love it
work.
because I'm not a numbers girl. I'm like, Andrea, what is this? She's like, hold on, let me figure it out. I'm like, perfect. I'll plop it in a graphic and we are good.
Yeah, or people will send her things and she's like, is this graphic right? Because I have all the numbers, but I'm not totally sure that these work out right.
Yeah.
So that to tell you that we all as jewels, as diamonds, as Plexus ambassadors love working together. We love taking skill sets that we all have. If Andrea's numbers look good, it might be because somebody else helped her work through them, not just me. And if my graphics looks good, it's 99.9% of the time either Andrea has created them or my VA Jen has created them. It is 0.01% of the time that I have ever had anything to do with it. And so we all have skill sets. So Andrea and I've got to talk a lot in the chat, and that has kind of spun off getting to talk one-on-one a little bit. And I think it's fascinating to hear somebody else's story. So often we hear upline, downline, even sideline stories of people that kind of all go together. But Andrea, not to call her an island unto herself, but has kind of created this and built her business really without a massive amount of upline support. And so, Andrea, I want you to just kind of tell us like how you got started, how you got into it, what all your thoughts were around network marketing and MLMs and all of that, and then kind of how you got into kind of a working business.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. First of all, I like grew up watching these ladies when I first came into Plexus. So it's like such an honor to be here and just to share my story with you guys. So you guys are on an amazing team. So I hope you guys know that. So basically this is my 8th year in Plexus this month, which is crazy because I would never in a million years, which I'm sure everyone says this, I would never see myself as a network marketer and actually loving it. Like actually being like, this is what I do. This is the most amazing business in the entire world. Because it truly is, you guys. And so I want you guys to think of the word energy as I'm talking, because I truly believe everything we do in our business is based around energy. And the way that we come into our team, the way we come into our business, into our family, it all circles. And so I'm going to take you through my story. So before I started Plexus, I laugh because I'm like, God knew I was going to do network marketing before I even knew I was going to do network marketing, because I was such a stubborn, college student. I did not love college. I wanted to be on my own, traveling, not on someone else's schedule. Like it was like tooth and nail to keep me in college. I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in class. Like it just wasn't my jam. And my mom laughs now because she's like, I should have just known all along, like let you do what you needed to do. And so I actually I moved to Charleston, South Carolina with my best friend. I got all of my classes online from college, finished my senior year in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm from West Virginia originally. And I just remember being like, okay, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? And I just remember being like, I don't want to, I was 20 at the time, probably. So I was like, I don't want to go work for a 9 to 5. I don't want someone to tell me when I can go on vacation, when I can go back and see my family. Like, I just never loved that vibe. And so I started bartending. And it honestly met like my gypsy soul needs. So I could just be like, hey, like, I'm going to do this, but hey, I'm going to be off and I'm going to be traveling. And so I did that for like probably 5 years. Up until I met my husband. I met him in Charleston, South Carolina, and he actually is from Greenville, South Carolina. So we moved up to Greenville. And in that time, I was not very smart with my money. So I only had $4,000 to my name. And you guys, I made really good money bartending, but as a 20-something-year-old in like the funnest city in the whole entire world, like I was not smart with it. Okay. And so I just remember moving here. I had tons of stomach issues ever since I was like small. I mean, I was on, laxatives when I was little, or like Miralax, like all these things. I just was like, my stomach was always in a mess. I had, was on antibiotics for strep throat, had my tonsils out, just like all of these things. My mom obviously was doing the best she could in the 90s. They just put you on whatever the doctors was telling you to put you on. And like, lo and behold, I had terrible gut health and I never knew that was really what I had. And so, I was drinking Red Bulls. I was spending so much money I went to like holistic doctors, naturopaths, like all these things in Charleston. Cause I was like, something has got to give because I cannot keep living off of like laxatives and energy drinks and all these things. It was like a vicious cycle. And so when I moved here, like I said, I had $4,000 to my name. My college friend was like, Andrea, I know you have bad stomach problems. I just started Plexus. You have to do this with me. And I was like, you are crazy. I'm not doing like that snake oil weird stuff. Guys, I had never even heard of network marketing. I really didn't know what it was. I was like, the only thing I've ever heard of was like Mary Kay back in the day, I was like, or Longenberger baskets. I don't know. My mom had those around the house. So I was like, is that what this is? I was like, I don't want any part of it. Like, I'm good. Little did I know, I really needed these products. And after 2 years of persistently like telling me, you need these, just try them. She got my mom and I together because my mom had high blood pressure, just all the things. And she was like, listen, guys, like, I want you guys to try these. And my mom first thought it was a weight loss. And she was like, Andrew, you're not going to do a weight loss thing. Like, that's just, no, you're not doing it. And I was getting married the following year. And I was like, it's not weight loss, mom. I think it's like gut health or something. And I had already found that like gut health was a lot of the reason why I was feeling the way I felt. And so I was kind of intrigued. Well, my mom was like, I'm going to do this. And she finally was like, I'm going to do this because I think it's going to help. She found out it's not weight loss. She's like, but I'm going to sign up underneath your friend if you don't do it. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I can't have my mom sign up underneath my friend and me not do this. So I was like, fine. I was so ticked because I did not have the money to do it. And I was like, I don't want to spend, back then it was like 100 and like, or like $99. I think like triplex was like 99. I was like, I don't want to spend $104 on this stuff. Like, what if it doesn't work? And I remember getting it and I just fell in love with it. Like the first 2 weeks, I was like less bloated, going to the bathroom regularly. I didn't need like coffee or energy drinks or anything. And I was just like so excited, but I was like trying to keep it like on the like low down, I was like, wasn't like, oh, I love, like, this is awesome. So I'd be like, I was like, yeah, it's like working. And I was like, so stubborn. And she was like, just make a post. Like, you're feeling so good. And I was like, no, I cannot not even imagine posting on my Facebook. I was like, I was so nervous. And I look back now and I'm like, why was I nervous? For like what audience, like my like high school friends that I don't even talk to anymore. Like, who was I nervous about? 9 months later, I made my first post and I went silver that same month. I signed up my husband. Obviously, my mom was already underneath me. She signed up underneath me. And I bribed my best friend to do it with me. I was like, please do this with me, please. Like, I need one more person. Well, my mom caught the vision of the business. And I was still like just doing my own thing. And so it was like, She lived in Virginia Beach. And so she was just signing up her friends, and she had signed up 15 friends in 1 month. And I remember my friend, she was like, Andrea, you could go Fast Start Gold. Like if you sign up, oh, I think I needed to sign up one more person. She was like, you got to sign up just one more person, one more person. I was like, okay, that's when I bribed my friend. And I just remember we hit Fast Start Gold together, and I was like, okay, what is this? I got my first Fast Start Gold paycheck, and my jaw hit the floor. I was like, did I just make over $1,000? Like, is this real? Like, this is crazy. And so I had student loan debt. And it was such a stressor in my life. I was getting married, and I was like, I just want to pay off this student loan debt. Like, that's all I wanted to do. And so I was like, okay, maybe this really could be something that I could do. And back up a little bit, when we moved up here, my husband is a lawyer, so he opened a law firm up here. And so I worked with him as a legal assistant. Guys, I did not love that. That even just like put the nail in the coffin even more, that I do not like a 9 to 5. I did not love it. And I was like, okay, I've got to make this work. Like, I want to make this work. And so as I worked as a legal assistant with him, I was doing Plexus. And so after that, I consecutively hit senior gold, ruby. And then my first convention in Vegas, I went senior ruby. And up until that point, I was just going. I was in momentum. We were just going. I really never learned a lot about team culture. I never learned a lot about systems. I never learned a lot about really like what makes a business stick, because we were just really flying fast. And I remember being in Vegas and hitting senior ruby then. And I was like, whoa, like that is the next rank is emerald. Like, that is insane. And I just froze. And you guys, I stopped working my business for 6 months, because I didn't have like a really solid why. My student loans were that, but I was able to really pay off a big chunk of that. So I never reworked my why. And I want to encourage you guys to really rework your why every month if you need to, because it changes. And so I was just stalled, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? And I just remember looking back, like I was never really taught how to think about like a real why, like a real why. It doesn't have to be, retiring your husband or a beach house, like, because those things didn't really resonate with me. I'm not a super like materialistic person. So I was like, those things aren't really resonating with me. And that we are complete opposite. So I really couldn't see past kind of what she was envisioning. And so I was like, okay, what is it that I really, really want? Well, we got married and I got pregnant. And I remember when I brought my son home, I was like, I don't want to go back to work. I do not want to go back to work. And so I remember picking my business back up. I was like, all right, like I picked it back up probably about 9 months after I kind of stalled out. And I just remember being like, okay, like you're going to go all in, and you're going to stick with this because you don't quit, and you're going to go all in. And I remember letting my energy just dip, because this team that I had built, I didn't build it the right way. And I say that because I wasn't building strong relationships with my team and building a culture, because I didn't know what that was like. I didn't know how that looked. And so I just remember letting my energy be affected by a lot of my team who I was dragging along. And so I would show up the way that they were showing up. Okay. And I want to tell you that is a huge no. You have to show up regardless if that team chat is quiet. That team thread does not determine whether you are successful or not, okay? What you do every single day and the energy that you bring to your team, no matter, even as a diamond, my team chat goes silent. Like, it's normal. It's normal ebbs and flows, because those girls are not they're not mentally, might not be where you're at right now, right? Like, everyone is on different levels, and you have to just realize that if you are staying consistent with your energy, you're going to attract those people, and it might just be a few people, and that's fine. I think that's what I had to realize, is like, you don't need a whole army to take you to the top of the company. You really don't. You need like a solid few girls who are in it, and to love on them really well. So in that time that I had my son, my sponsor quit. And so I was like, yikes, like I was just getting back in the business, and she just was going through some things, and she just quit. And I just remember being like, okay, like I can either quit too, because my business was still very rocky. Or I can put my big girl pants on and I can figure this out. Well, we went Emerald in 2019. And I was still learning, you guys. I was still learning what that looked like. Okay. Let me tell you, I was still dragging those people along, and we lost rank the next month. Has anybody hit something and lost rank the next month? It's normal. It happens. It really does. It means nothing about you. It doesn't mean that you'll never be diamond. It doesn't mean that you'll never hit the next rank. There were things in my team that I needed to let go. There were people that I needed to let go. There were systems that I needed to put in place that we had never had in place. Okay. We were just flying blind. If someone came into our business, no one knew what to do with them, right? Like I was doing everything for everyone, and that doesn't create empowered leaders. When you feel like that you've got to be hands in every single pot, that does not create an empowered team. That creates enabler, or you're enabling those people to feel like they can't make a move without you, and they don't feel empowered. And so that's my whole team. That was my whole team when I first hit Emerald. And guess what? A lot of those people pushed because I was throwing incentives and I was doing like a bunch of different things. And the next month, they didn't have that drive and their own why to continue to push. Even though their points grew too, they didn't have that stickability. And so, okay, I fell back, and this trickled from April all the way to the end of December in 2019. I'm getting so raw because I'm like, everyone needs to hear this, because it's like it really is, because I tell my team all the time, I'm like, listen, just because your points are down or they're not where you think they should be, that doesn't change who you are, your energy, what you're capable of doing. Like, points are points. Yes, they make income. Yes, they, whatever, but they should not determine what you're capable of in this business, because we all go through rough patches. And I believe that if you never hit a rough patch in this business, you're never going to be able to create a team that is really solid, because that's where we learn from our mistakes. And so I always remind my team that, like, when things happen, this is a really great lesson that you're about to learn, and you're probably not going to make that mistake again, and you're just going to take inventory. And so my points dwindled down to six. Okay, I wrote them down to 653. I started 2020 with 653 points. Okay, from 1500 to 653. You guys, in this time, my sponsor quit. My team was basically fizzling. I had one girl who was, she's still my sapphire right now. She has been with me forever, and I love her dearly. And I had just enrolled a new girl, a new business builder. Okay. And I was like, all right, what's my plan? Like, what are we going in 2020 with? It was like 2019, it was like December. I was like, what are we doing? I was like, sit down, make a system. And I just remember watching videos, and I'm like, okay, system. I am a blue personality. If it is fun, I'm there. If it's not, making a system is not fun to me. And it took everything I had in me to sit down and do this. It was like pulling teeth. Okay. So I was like, I've got to do this, and I've got to make it simple. And so I created this system, and I was like, I am going to just train the system to, I rallied the troops. I was like, whoever is in right now, let's go. Like, I don't care if it's 3 people. I don't care if it's 10 people. Like, let's just do this. And so we all committed that we are going to learn this system, and we're going to train our team on it. And I know that 2020 was a very crazy year. So I don't really base a lot of like things in my business, or how, when people say, oh, I double rank. 2020 was weird. Okay. It was like an anomaly in network marketing. Okay. But I want to say before, because it was like summer when things were really like popping off. Right. So I want to tell you, we started putting this system in place. Okay. So January of 2020, I was at 653. And then April, I was at 1127. And that was really before our team really got into momentum with the craziness of COVID. Okay. So like, that right there, that is true growth with a system. And it is just knowing that when someone comes into your business, what do you do? If your whole team, I've got a emerald who's about to hit sapphire, and then I've got a sapphire strong leg. They have both big teams, right? We all try to still do the same thing. That way we still do team calls together every Monday. We still do like a lot of things together. And I'm very grateful for that, because it just makes it easier. So everybody knows like what to do. Like when someone signs up, we're getting on the phone, we're asking them to post right away, we're asking them to do a wellness party. Like, it is something that we've done since 2019. And I just kind of retweaked it, and it is working still so well. And so anyways, I rallied the troops. We started doing this system. And through that time, I kept telling myself, keep your energy where you want to take your team. Keep your energy where you want your team to go, right? Like if you want to be sapphire, then you have to have sapphire energy, right? Even though your points are like 1100 right now, like you have to have sapphire energy. And like write that down. What does that look like to you? What does that look like? How are you showing up? And I really think that pen to paper is so powerful because when you're writing it down, you're getting your thoughts on paper and you're able to say, okay, like what does that look like? Is that waking up 30 minutes before my kids? Guys, I have 3 boys now, under the age of 5. It's crazy in my house, and I still commit to waking up at least an hour early. And it might not be whatever that is for you, but if I don't work out and get the bulk, get like the chunk of my business before I go into my team chats or anything, I feel crazy during the day, right? Like I want to get at least 5 messages out. I want to follow up. I want to get in touch with my business partners, or my business builders and things. That is my bulk of what I need to do in the morning. And so whatever that is that feels hard to you right now to do in your business is exactly what you need to do in your business. And I promise you, you won't regret it, because when your business starts to grow, you're going to be thanking yourself that you did that. Like sacrifice, like short-term sacrifices for long-term gain is one of the best things I've ever heard, because I tell our team, focus in 90-day spurts. You can do what you could do in a year, I swear, in a 90-day spurt if you just put your mind to it. Okay. So anyways, so as we're going through, we're learning all kinds of new things. We're doing team culture. 2020 was hard for team culture, right? Like it was crazy business. It was crazy, like fast business. And we were kind of just like drinking out of a fire hydrant, we're just like, whoa, like everyone's coming in, they're ranking up, So I had like 2 or 3 emeralds that year, like that went emerald in 8 months. It was just like crazy stuff. Right. And so past that, I hit sapphire in November of 2020. So I went from 653 to sapphire. Now, mind you, that is COVID and it's crazy. So things can happen like that. And it still can happen too. Like, I mean, guys, there are diamonds that are crushing it. Trisha Rager, like it can happen. And I truly believe that if you believe you can do it, it will happen. I know that sounds so simple and so easy, but if you believe every single day, like I always tell my team, have one goal you want to do for the day. One goal. What is one goal? Do you want to sign someone up? Do you want to get someone silver? You don't have to have this massive goal every single day that feels impossible. One goal. What is it? You want to message 10 people? Great. And if you're having a rough day, message one person, because a little bit adds up to a lot. But when you don't do anything, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to notice it in a month. You probably won't notice it. If you just completely stop working your business for a month, you're probably not going to notice anything. But a month after month after month, it's going to compound, and then you're going to notice. And so I realized that whenever I kind of backed off of my business after I hit Senior Ruby, and I always tell my team, a little bit adds up, a little bit adds up. And so after we hit Sapphire, we got into 2021. And so things kind of shook out a little bit in 2021. It wasn't quite as crazy as 2020. But my points were still climbing. We were still climbing. And I was so excited. I was like, okay, diamond is like right around the corner. I was like at 3,700 points, I think in like March of 2021. And I was like, okay, we're going to do this. By convention, I want to be diamond. Okay. So we were on the track for it. Like we were tracking it and everything. And guys, we could not get there. We could not get there. I was at 42, 45. We could not make it happen. And I was like, I'm fine with it. People were like, you were fine with that. I'm like, we busted our tails. Like we really did. But there was something missing in our team that wasn't making that complete circle. Right. And so we had a lot of people, and I don't know if you guys do, but we had a lot of people that went really fast during COVID. We had an emerald in 8 months. Okay. So we were not training those people like they needed to be trained. Okay. And so I say this because a lot of the times we might think that maybe someone who is at a higher rank should just know what to do. This is one of my biggest mistakes that I've made as a leader, is just assuming since they're maybe Ruby or Senior Ruby, they should just know. And that is not the case. Sometimes I don't even know. And I've been doing this for 8 years. Sometimes I need someone to talk to and someone to kind of shake out things with. And so I always want to encourage you guys to help people with like an open mind, with an open hand, because a lot of the times we in this business can say, well, she's been doing this forever. Like she should just know. Like, why does she keep coming to me with questions? Or why did, and that was what we had. We had a lot of girls who went really fast and we were like, well, they've been doing this for a year. And we didn't realize, but they never learned the basics. They never learned the basics of this business. And so what we did, we went back to basics. After we had all this momentum, we went right back to basics. We went right back into our system. We went right back into the 4 pillars. We went right back into vision casting. And so we were really in really great momentum after we kind of got, our things back in alignment. And then the following summer, after convention, actually, convention 2022, when the reset came out, I hit diamond, and it was incredible. And I just honestly couldn't even believe it. Like we went, I don't even know. I woke up on that day at like 4,000 points. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like I was just, my team's like, we're doing it. We're doing it. Like it's done. We're doing it. And I just remember like I was in the mountains with like minimal service. Okay. Of course, this is like, I had already had this trip planned for like 6 months in advance. I didn't know this is when I was like gonna go diamond. And so I'm like, my sister has 5 kids. I have had 3. So we had 8 kids. Me, my sister, and my mom are in the mountains at this mountain house, like kids running around. My mom and I are like, she works the business with me. So we're like on our phones, like doing all these things, trying to get signal. We were outside the entire day because that was just where the Wi-Fi was, or the best signal. And at like 11 o'clock, we hit diamond. And I was just like, holy crap. Like and never in a million years would I ever think that I would be at the top of this company? Like, and I have to say, being here, and I'm sure Andrea and Becky can definitely say this, is like, there was no secret ticket the entire time. There's no secret message. There's no secret club. There's no secret anything. And I'm still doing the same things just at a higher intensity that I was when I was a gold. It's crazy. I just did a training for my team and I was like, guys, this system that I'm teaching you, yes, it was very splotchy back in the day, but like essentially, like we're doing the same things, right? Like just at a higher frequency. And you're learning to lead, and you're learning to love your team, and you're learning to, really connect with your team on a level that they feel seen and that you can help them. And I will tell you, I know that I'm always all over the place, but hopefully you guys can keep up, and I'm a fast talker. But one of the things that we have done now, and I always can tell you that this is one of the things that can make going for a rank or a goal or something look so doable, is mapping out. I don't know if you guys do this, but okay, yes, like we just did a huge mapping session because I have a lot of girls going for Emerald. And so like we did this and they were like, this is so doable. Like, this is so doable. And so I just encourage you guys, if you have people on your team that think maybe this jump from this rank to that rank is not doable, break it down for them. Show them that they can do this if they have this in place. And so that just really, that helped me with my journey to diamond, is mapping out. I don't know if I could visualize it if I didn't have it on paper. And I just really think that the energy that you bring to your team, no matter if, I mean, I've had babies back to back to back. No matter if you go through like a crazy season with your family, or, you're traveling, holidays, whatever it is, like the energy has to be there. And you can't let your team dictate the way you show up, right? If you feel like sometimes your team is not there, don't let that dim your light at all. You still have to show up, and you still have to have that like excitement. And yes, you're probably not going to be excited about Plexus 24/7. Like, come on, we're humans, right? Like, but if you can find that one constant that really gets you excited about what Plexus can do for you, and maybe that's giving back. Maybe that is putting a dent in financial, situations, or maybe that's, for us, this house that I'm sitting in, like we rented for 8 years until we got all of our financial things, in place. And this house, like Plexus basically paid for this house. Like, this is my dream home. Like, I custom did this house. Like, to think that, I'm like, what the heck? Like, I came into this with $4,000 to my name. And you know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. And to think like, I tell everybody this too, because I think it's really important, because I didn't know my why for a really long time. And your why can be really silly. And you guys want to hear like some of my why? My why is to buy my kids the really like nice snacks that they love, like the organic yogurts and I have 3 boys, guys. That stuff goes like, even if I go to Costco, like it goes like in like a day. Okay. Like Andrea knows, like, you know, like boys are just like they're crazy. I even like 5, 3, and 2, they still eat me out of house and home. But like to have that, to have my boys go to the school that I want them to go to, like these are like mom wise, you know what I mean? And like things that I wouldn't be able to do unless I had Plexus. Like it pays for our groceries, it pays for all of our bills. And it's just so great to not have to have that stress. I came from a single mom. My mom was single parenting the entire time I was growing up. Okay. And I just remember watching her work job after job after job after job after job after job and being gone a lot. And I just think, I always think like if she had this when she was like raising us, like could you imagine like being able to have this as like a supplemental income in addition to what she was doing? Like she would be able to be home with us more and not have to be like stressed about money and all of these things. And it's just, I know sometimes we can get in a rut or with our business, or we can think, man, I've been here for such a long time at this rank. But you guys never quit on your worst day. Okay. And you never know who is like going to sign up the next day, right? Like you never ever know who is going to sign up tomorrow or today. Like that's why I tell my team all the time, I'm like, you never know. One rough patch, you're going to have a million rough patches. And if you can be okay with that, and you can be okay with the no's, and you can be okay with, you know, seeing your points fluctuate, it's a bit, we're in a business of sales. The numbers are always going to be fluctuating. That's just how it is, you know? And if you can be okay with that, and you know that you're here for the long term, your business is going to be here for the long term, and it's going to grow inevitably. Okay. Like there's going to be hard times, but I literally always tell my team, like, if you're in this and you truly do love what you do, and you truly do want to help your people, even that goes as far as customer service. Like, don't ever underestimate good customer service, because those people, they're probably gonna turn out to be your business builders, truly. Like, I just had a girl come to the Sunday night call last night that she's been with me for 5 years, loves her products, has never missed a month. And I'm like, I've asked her every like month. I'm like, hey, there's a Sunday night call, or when we do something, I'm like, just come listen. Last night, she was like, I would love to. I was like, oh my goodness. Like after 5 years, she said yes. And so I just want to encourage you guys, like, even as a diamond, you're still digging through your back office, and you're still, you know, doing your IPA and making your connections. Like, you have to truly love what you do. And I think that that is one of the factors. And I see it in your leaders too. They love what they do. They show up for you guys. And when people know, when they know that they have a solid leader that is a lifer, that is going to be here, do you know how much like safety that creates for people that might be a little uncertain in their business in hard times? Like they know that they have a constant. And so I want you to think about that next time you feel like you might be drifting off into the abyss. I always say, like, sometimes when people, I'm guilty of this. Whenever you get like stressed or whatever, I kind of like, I can be really quiet sometimes. And that was one of the things I had to say, like, okay, you can't do that. You cannot kind of like dip out a little bit, because you still have a team that depends on you, still have customers that depend on you. And so that was a lot of how I realized that my Plexus business before was not built like that, because I wouldn't care to just be like, okay, guys, I'm having a hard time, I gotta go, you know. And like, you can't do that. You can't do that. Okay. But anyways, that's my story.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I knew so many pieces of it, but I'd never ever heard it all put together. And I don't know how many notes y'all took. I am at almost 2 full pages of like solid notes. But what stood out to me the most, there's a couple of things, but one is that you figured out a system at the point of Ruby. So your points were at, I think you said 653 at the point that you actually, so that's Ruby, because you're not quite at that 750, even though you'd hit Emerald before. So here's the thing, it's almost like you've gotten a taste of it, and then it kind of got pulled back, and you're like, okay, I want that again. So what's it going to take to get there? And as much as every single one of y'all, as much as I would love for Andrea to get on here and be like, okay, here's what my system is, and here's what's been working for us. Okay. So that's kind of my fleshly desire. Anybody else wants what Andrea to just tell us her system? But here's what I think makes me pause on that. Andrea had to go search for her system. She had to put pen to paper. She had to watch a lot of videos. She didn't have an upline pouring a system into her that then she went, okay, now I'm going to go pour this into the next person. She owns a system that she went and cultivated. And although I think all leaders are happy to share, like, here's what's working for us. If you are not willing to go dig into videos, if you're not willing to put pen to paper in some quiet times without people like us talking to you and at you and go, what do I think it needs to look like? What over the past 6 months or years have you yeah, people are always like, please tell us what your secret is, what your system is. And I think when you, as a up and coming leader, wherever your points are, but again, if you're around that 650 point mark, you're right where Andrea was, and you have the ability to go search that out. Now, if you're silver or gold, I would say get with your sponsor. Andrea, did your sponsor, I know that she's no longer in the business, but the person that originally sponsored you in, did she kind of handhold you, and did y'all work together up till a certain point till your leadership lid kind of out, like your leadership kind of outran hers?
We kind of built the business together. So she was kind of just getting into it and we kind of just learned together. So I never really had anyone like as a true mentor in this business. That's why you guys, YouTube is the best. Like I remember watching Andrea, your videos, Sonia Dudley. Guys, I was in the gym listening to Sonia Dudley. I'm like, who am I? Like, like listening to training videos while I work out, like someone call that crazy.
And like walking and going, okay, and her whiteboard says, like, try
Oh,
to
literally. I'm like the convince or whatever that video was. I was like, come on, Andrew, you can do this. Like, cause I was I was so shy before I did this. Like, you would never catch me. Like when Andrea came to ask me, like I would back then I'd be like, no, girl, like I'm not gonna talk to people. Like that's embarrassing. But now I'm like, you just never, this whole business, I always say is like, it grows you so much more than the dollar sign, right? Like, the money's great. Yes, it's amazing. But like the way I've grown as a person is incomparable. I honestly, like if I lost all the money today, truly, I would be so grateful for the person that I am today because I've had such great habits instilled in me from network marketing and Plexus. Like it's just been great.
What do you feel like was kind of your mindset when you were, so you had hit Emerald? Had you gone on the Emerald trip before your points had fallen backwards to like that 600?
I did
Yeah.
get to go on the Emerald trip. I did. And
Which is good because you get that taste. Like,
yeah, and that's why I was like, a girl, I will never miss an Emerald trip, and I haven't since then. I was like, no, 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 no. Like I did not. I literally, oh well, actually, the 2019 I went. The next year I did not go because that was COVID and I didn't even get the money for it. So I just remember being like, but my level one did because she hit Emerald. And so I was so happy for her. And I was like, but girl, we're gonna be in like I think it was Mexico the next year. I was like, we're gonna be in there together because I'm gonna not be there, okay?
and so I do think earning it and then losing it, there's a little bit of like, I know what I want. So I want to go back to that spot.
Mhm.
So I think there's a little bit of drive, but what else do you feel like you were thinking at like that? I've fallen back. I don't know how we're going to get back to Emerald. COVID wasn't on the horizon when you made that decision, which I think is a big point of you were making the decisions and putting the systems in place. And I hear this a lot with like Christina Williams and Brittany kind of talk about this. Like they had systems in place before the people came. So it's like you went back to ground zero or whatever and decided I'm going to put a system in place now at
Mhm.
Ruby, almost senior Ruby, to grow healthily back. And then even realizing at Emerald again and Sapphire, like, okay, there's still things that like we're still tweaking this. This isn't a
Right.
perfect system. And even at Diamond, one thing that we know is that you go, oh, and Becky and I did this going into like a 90-day customer chat we were talking about, is it's like, oh, it's going to pivot again next month. And it could pivot again in quarter 3. And it could pivot again before the end of the year. And it could pivot again if corporate comes out with a new system, like kind of like what you said with Reset. You said convention. I noticed that you said convention 2022 when we launched Reset, which means Reset coming out was a big like extra push for your team. which means you're adding in a new system. Like you're adding in a caveat of reset to everything. So I think it's really important to say you don't come up with a system and then it's flawless. You come up with a system, you implement it, you evaluate it, and you go
Yeah.
forward.
Don't think that your system's going to be perfect at first. Just get it out there. That's what my best advice. Don't sit there and mull over it because it was not perfect. Like I said, I just retweaked it like last month. Okay. And so like it's forever changing, just like this business, you know?
I love that. Beck, did you have some questions?
I did. And I want to say in light of that, because when you were talking about your system, I was like, oh, I want to, and then I was like, Becky, hold the horse.
I'm happy to share. I really am. I really don't
Well,
care.
I would love for you to share. I would in a minute. I do want to say, I realize that for me personally, if I don't own it, I'm not going to use it. Like Andrea, Andrea Mitchell can tell me like, we should do this and she'll post about it. And I think I'm just going to organically like absorb it, but I won't until I actually put it into use. And I think any system feels awkward the first few times you're using it. And that, it's, if you don't use it, you won't adapt it and you definitely won't duplicate it. That's what I see. Hey, I wanted to ask you, Andrea, about your leaders. Obviously you had a set of leaders that got you to Senior Ruby.
Mhm.
And then it sounds like you had a set of leaders that got you to Emerald, and then you had to get a whole new set of leaders for Sapphire and Diamond. Can you tell us a little bit about what that looked like, and what is your bounce back for when a leader walks away?
Okay. Oh, this is a good question. Okay. So yes, well, here's the thing. You're going to have team cycles. And I tell my team, if you don't have team cycles, you will never grow because you're always going to have leaders quitting. If you're never developing new golds and silvers and rubies, like it's just a team cycle. And with every big rank, you're going to have people who leave and you're going to have new people who come on. And that is just the nature of it. So yes, so we had, I mean, up until my senior ruby, I still have, like I said, my sapphire with me. And then I signed on my now emerald, who will be sapphire. We're pushing like in the next like 60, 90 days. I had just signed her on. So those were really my biggest business builders. She went really fast, and my second one, and I had just a lot of golds. We were really good at developing golds. And then I had a lot of people quit. I mean, guys, when I tell you it was, and this is not to scare you. This is just to say, like, you can literally rebuild. And Melissa Eichenhorst and I were talking, and she's like, rebuilding is fun. Like, it's fun. Like, it cycles in your business, right? Like, that is just how, if you look at rebuilding as daunting and you're just like, oh, I don't want to rebuild. The truth is you're rebuilding every single day because you're losing points every single day. And I know that sounds really hard, but it's so true, because when you can just be like factual about it, like there's going to be someone who doesn't order today, but guess what? You might sign up someone. So boom, there's your replacement points, right? Like you're always rebuilding, and it should be fun, right? It should be fun and not daunting. And so I always try to remind my girls that. And so that next wave of business builders was when I had she was Ruby, my sapphire now, and then the new girl I just brought on, and we were just like, okay, like what is your goals? She hit my emerald now, she hits ruby very quickly. And then in 2020 I was like, y'all have, both of them, they were very close in points. I was like, you have to push for emerald. Like this is the time, like there's no other time but right now. And so we did a 90-day push. And then we had like, so I have a sapphire, my level 1, I have a sapphire and an emerald. And then my level 2, I have 3 emeralds. One does not work anymore, guys. An emerald just left. I don't know how people do that, but like just left. And I will tell you this, it means nothing about you. It means nothing about you, because we battled this. She was my level 2 and my level 1 was like, why did she quit? And I'm like, it's this business is for everyone, but it's not. It's in seasons, it's not right for certain people, right? And in that season for her, like a lot of people just don't build that, like I say, that tough outer layer of just being okay with a no and not wanting to sacrifice. She literally said, I would rather not have this income and do X, Y, and Z. And sometimes it's just not for people. And as much as we want it for other people, we can't want it for them. Like we can't do the work for them. And so I told her, I was like, listen, like you created an emerald, honey, you can go create another one. And so we just worked with whoever was in the back office, and literally a year later, she created another emerald. And it was like, okay, you can do this, like you just have to get in the mindset of like, of course, we always want to do reflection in the mirror and look and see like what could I have done better? But if you've helped someone, you guys know, to the point where if you're feeling you're pulling someone along, it's okay. It's okay. There's a fine line between being there for someone and putting plexus aside. And if they're going through a hard time, being there for them as a friend and a leader. But there's also a time where if they are just blatantly not showing up, and it's okay to lay that down, right? Like it really is okay to lay that relationship down and say, hey, when you're ready, I'm here, but it seems like I'm wanting it more for you than you're wanting it for yourself. And I literally have had a bazillion of those conversations, and it's okay. And then sometimes your points have to go back to grow massive. That's what I've learned in my business. Yeah.
It's like pruning a tree or pruning a plant. If anyone has a fiddle leaf fig, they are they're like awesome. But
Girl, we have two, and I'm not a plant gal because I just can't keep them alive. But my husband loves them, and we have two, and it's a love.
they're needy. They're needy. And I've finally realized with mine, because mine's like, I think it's like 8 years old now. And I've had her make some babies. But she needs pruning, and so she has to like go smaller to get bigger. I know we are nerds. I'm sorry. Okay, so let me ask now, because it sounds like when you mentioned the 4 pillars, and I think a lot of us struggle with the idea of how do I duplicate and how do I train leadership into people? So what is a system that you guys, a simple system? I love that you said simple. I think complicated creates confusion, which creates getting stuck, right? Like if I'm confused, I'm stuck. So what's your simple system from sign up to building someone to gold? Because you mentioned having a lot of golds and you guys are a gold developing team.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell you, here's the one thing. If you're going to develop a gold, you have to just go ahead and have that vision for them that they're going to go gold, right? Like don't stop at silver. When they've reached silver, like you just keep feeding that. Okay. So I'll walk you guys through it. So I know you guys might be like, oh, get on the phone. My team, we are old school. We are old school. We are old school, guys. I know. And if this isn't the way you guys train, I'm sorry. So you just take it with a grain of salt, whatever you hear. Okay. I am old school. Like I don't love to get on the phone, you guys. I don't, right? Like I have 3 boys who are nuts. Okay. Like, so any time is not a good time, but I make time. And guess what? Like I have literally wiped a butt and I've signed someone up, like as with my AirPods in, as I'm like wiping a butt. Okay. So you can literally do it. Doesn't matter. I'm like, hey guys, I have kids. Like they're going to be in the background. Like we're normal, like it's okay. So getting on the phone, because while the share cart, it just does not create that community that I can create on a phone call in 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. So as I'm going through the phone, I'm getting on the phone. As soon as I'm walking someone through, I'm talking to them, I make a pack recommendation and I'm like, great, can I give you a call? And if they're like, I'm at work, I'm like, okay, great. Like I'm free at 7:30 tonight. Are you free? And they're like, no. So if I'm going through and they're like, I'm not, then I take their information and then I put it in because I want to make sure it's right. And then I set up a phone call with them later. Like we're going to get on the phone. I'm very adamant about that because I know that, and I can tell you because we did actually like a little study on my Emerald side. She had her senior Ruby leg. She was using ShareCart a ton, and she was a duplication queen before, and she was getting on the phone and then ShareCart. And we were like, what do you think is like different as why you're not creating so many silvers? And she's like, I haven't been getting on the phone and I haven't been asking them to like make a post and stuff. And we're like, right, like you haven't been making that connection. So when I'm on the phone, I'm talking to them, like, oh yeah, like, what do you guys have any fun plans this weekend? I mean, just small talking, you guys. I loathe small talk. So if I can do this, you guys can do this. Small talk kills me, okay? But if I can do this, you guys can do this, okay? So you're just on the phone, and then as I am hanging up, I'm walking them through what they got, how to take it, telling them I'm going to send them, how to get started guide after we get off the phone. And then I say, listen, I wish that I would have shared these products sooner than I did, because I had people in my life that needed these products, like my aunt, like my dad, like my best friend. And I really wish I didn't wait like 9 months to let people know what I was doing. If you're open, would you share a quick post on social media, just your excitement of getting started. And it sounds like I am really excited to start these products that my friend Andrea just helped me get started on. It's helped her with X, Y, and Z. Who wants to do this with me? Guys, that is like the year-old post, but I swear it still freaking works and it's just easy, okay? And usually they're like, sure. And so what I do is I am like, okay, hey, let me grab that. I have it put everything in your notes because you don't want to be like scrolling through trying to just go ahead and I have like my whole onboarding system in my notes. And so then I just go and copy it. I say, tell me the 3 things you're excited to see that Plexus is going to help with. I log it in and then I send it and I'm like, post this with you, or like with your picture, or I always send them a pink drink picture just because like, if they don't want to post their face, then at least they have like a pink drink picture that's cute, you know? So, and even if they don't post it with a picture, it's fine. I'm excited that they even just posted. Okay. So then I tell them, I'm like, hey, listen, if you get any comments, just tell them, hey, I'll DM you. And then then you just put me in a 3-way and just say, hey, this is my friend Andrea. I literally just started. I have no idea about anything. I just know that I'm excited to feel good, but my friend Andrea is going to answer all the questions. And so then I just jump in and I take over in that 3-way. I ask them, hey, what interests you the most about Plexus? Go through that. I send testimonies, you guys, testimonies. I don't even send the video anymore. So if that's what, it's fine. Like I said, grain of salt. But the video just took so long. And I just felt like people, if they were at work, they couldn't watch the video. And so that would just really delay the conversation. And so I always like want to keep them like in the lane going with the conversation if they're there. And so I just grab a testimony that they told me what they are like interested in the most, send it. And then I say, do you want to see what they took? They say yes. Send them a pack recommendation. This thing takes like 5 seconds. Like you literally can have someone. I just signed up a new girl and she is almost gold. Like she started last month and like we've been using this system and it's like boom, boom, boom. It's just so easy. And she can even do it. Like I've just let her off on her own and she still puts me in 3-ways if she needs me. But like she's able to do this because it's easy. And so what we did is I'm sure you guys have a testimonial page where you have like written testimonies. Go and use that. Just load them. Have what I had my girls do, like, cause we have a lot of new people on our team. I was like, guys, everyone go and put your testimony in there. Like put it, like keep loading them in there. And so we did that last month. And so once I do that, I get them in the team page. I welcome them. I don't have, like I said, I don't have a sponsor, but I still connect them with like my 2 level ones. Like, I'm just like, girls, I'm using you like just as a community touch point. Like I'm like, hey, this is my friend X, Y, and Z. Like she's going to be here. If I'm not here for some reason, like, but I just want to connect you with people in the community, blah, 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 just so they can feel welcome. And so they just pop in and say like, hey, we're so excited that you're here, blah, blah, blah. But I always love to have them. I always tell my team, connect them with your sponsor because a lot of the times they might go silent on you, but you have that connection in that 3-way, like if they're going through detox and stuff that you have that at least that point of contact. So I do that. And then in that same turn, I ask them if they would like to do a wellness party. I'm like, this is just one thing that I offer. And it's quick, it's easy. I'll do everything. All you have to do is invite. And so usually if they're willing to make a post, they're willing to do a wellness party because they literally don't have to do things except for invite. And so I just send them the message to invite. And one of the things that I've been doing is I have been putting in the like the party event. You can call it whatever you want to, but I like think something we never did, like when you go to like the Usborne or whatever those book parties are called, like they'll say like the host is like gonna earn, whatever, a month of free books. I was never doing that in the thing. So I was like, Stacy is going to do the first prize level of $300 if she gets 3 friends to sign up. You guys, it was like a light bulb that went off in everybody's head that was in that party. And they were like, did like to my new girl that just like last month, they're like, did you get your thing? Like, how many more people do you need? Like it created buzz. Not only did it do that, but the people that she signed up wanted to also have a wellness party to make $300. Right? Like, isn't that crazy? I was like, what? Okay, I've been doing guys have been doing this for 8 years. I'm like, why have I never offered what that person is going to hit at the first prize level or whatever you want to call it? And I was like,
let me ask a question really quick. Cause this
Yeah.
is, I just suddenly caught on this stroke of genius. So, and I'm talking to our team, like you're saying wellness party, you're talking about a Facebook Messenger chat, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And at the top, you say like, if Stacy's your new VIP that you're helping, you're like, Stacy's going to win. What was the language you used there?
Her first prize level is $300. So actually I do it in a group. I'm old school. Sometimes the chats kind of stress me out a little bit because it's like,
Okay.
well, people are doing video calls, but you can do whatever you want. The groups have been working really great. We're having one tomorrow night for a girl, and
You're just talking about a group text.
or no, a group like Facebook group, like old
Oh,
school.
a Facebook group. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I know.
got it.
We went back to doing those just because I don't know. I can schedule the post, but I'm actually getting ready to drop this party in my content group. So you guys will have all the party.
Well, I was going to say just to plug Andrea's group, she's got an awesome group, which has all this stuff like loaded in Trello boards and whatnot. However, I like the language because you said like, she's going to hit a prize level. You didn't say like, she's going to earn her silver bonus, which is such
Right.
insider lingo that it freaks people out, you know? Okay. And so what I heard was when you announced that Stacy, I love the wording. It's like, I want to get that down, but basically the people in the chat got invested in helping Stacy.
Yeah, they were, because we followed up with everybody and she was putting me in 3 ways and they were all like, did you hit it yet? Did you hit it? Did you get your like prize of $300? And you know, cause it's her warm market. It's her friends, it's her family, and they're wanting to help her. And then when we got on the phone with them, of course I did the system, asked them to post, and they were like, yeah, but like, can I also do a wellness party? And that's honestly, that's the first time that people have been like, can I do a wellness party in my 8 years? Like, they're like, because they saw. And another thing we did was in that group, anytime someone would join, we would shout them out, right? We would be like, Stacy or whatever, Sally joined and blah, 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 blah. She got this pack, like whatever. And so we kept that group very active, and it's still like, we're still like dropping things in there kind of just like as people, cause she's been doing this for a month. And so like, we're kind of keeping people updated, and people are still like, they're still coming in, they're still excited. And we have 2 wellness parties this week for her.
Well, and imagine they're also seeing like she's about to hit her prize level of Fast Start Gold, but you don't say Fast Start Gold. You're like, she's about to hit a $1,200 prize level. And people are like, what? Just from this last month of this group, like $1,200. Like, if you think about it like that, like you can keep that, like you can keep leveling up to like senior gold, but they don't know it because we do use that insider knowledge or that insider language, and you're using it as like a prize level, which in a hostess group makes sense because everyone's like, oh wait, if you have 9 new customers, then you hit a prize level of that. Well, I'll be your new customer. Like, what does that mean? Like, I mean, that's
Well, and I love, Andrea, that you're doing it in a Facebook group, because I would have told you, this is good for me. I would have told you putting people in a new Facebook group is dead. Like, that's so 2020. It won't work right now.
We thought the same thing. We just started going back to groups because we did chats, and my team was not excited. I just kind of read the room. I was like, why y'all not excited about these events that we're doing?
And the freaking group chat calls that just kill a chat worse than anything is when Mildred calls the whole group 9 times during 30 minutes. You're so right about that. Okay.
So someone doesn't even know that they're in there. They're like, why am I in here? And I'm just like, okay, got to keep the positivity going, honey. You know, like, so I'm just like in a group, like you got to accept the invite. You know, it is a little more painful, but I do have my team make sure they're following up, and they send that invite link to that group so they can just click. So when someone says, yes, I want to come, I'm like, have them click the link and get in the group at that time, just to make it easier.
I love it. And like you said, you can pre-schedule your posts, so you're not like doing the hustling with the traffic. But then also it sounds like, and then it's a little micro community. Do you ever clear that group page out? Like,
not for her. No, she's like she's been really good. She's been posting like a couple testimonies in there, like just like once a week or something. And then if someone joins, she'll just like shout them out. And so it's just kind of like a little community of her, like literally close knit friends. And then she kind of uses it as her own little test. Like, it's not her like a team page at all. It's just like,
yeah, but it could become it, right? Like looks like it could be her future team page if she wants it.
Yeah, she's done. It's honestly been great. And I didn't even expect that one little tweak to be so electric, I guess, and just kind of catch on. But it was great. It cast a vision to those people that were in that group, that they could, if they helped 3 friends, they could earn $300, which is huge.
Love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. Cause I'm literally like,
yeah,
rethink some things.
Yeah. I'm an open book. I'll share.
Okay, Andrea, real fast, can you drop the link to join your group? Y'all, just so y'all know what it is, it's a Facebook group that Andrea started. Golly, how long did you start this? A year and a half ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah, a year and a half ago.
And so she started out just dropping graphics like, hey, if y'all want to use this whenever this launches or this happened, or hey, there's some great getting started guides, Facebook or Instagram story graphics that are in that mode. And then one thing that you'll notice is people will screenshot them and reshare them, which we see all the time. And Andrea is so gracious to never have a fit about that. But one thing that I think is great is if you're grabbing it from her actual page, it's really clear, it's really sharp, it's not awkwardly cut, because every time you screen grab from a Facebook, Instagram story, it kind of changes the centering of them, which drives me bonkers when you click and they're like all over the place. Yeah. But you can also follow along with other people, and you can see how they introduce a story, how they talk, they face talk throughout the story, and then they use Andrea's graphics throughout that. Again, when she says she sends someone a picture of a pink drink, she has that already loaded for you. She has the picture, really clear, crisp, clean pictures of triplex and active and all the things already done for you. So it's kind of a great source page. So Andrea, if you'll drop that in the chat. Yeah, she did it. So she dropped in the chat. I think is it $20 a month now?
Yeah.
$20 a month. She puts all the work in. You don't have to do the work. It actually frees up your time. It's like having a graphics virtual assistant for $20 a month. So you can grab those. But one thing I would really caution you against is using graphics without any content. So I would context it with yourself talking. One thing that I've seen work really well, and Becky does this well, Rebecca Folks does this well, Andrea obviously does this well because this is her, her skill set, is talking through life and using graphics as kind of like like screen grabs of people like, oh, wait, she just dropped something really fast. It's a few words on a page, a clear, crisp thing, and it's pretty pictures. And so sometimes that kind of starts the scroll. I don't want you to use all her graphics and none of your own face and verbiage. And I want you, if you're posting it on Facebook, I want you to be really intentional about speaking to the person you're talking to about their life and how this changes it for them. And then using these graphics as maybe a thing that'll stop the scroll on Facebook because it looks so good. So Andrea, thank you for all of the work that you put in there. Also, if you're looking for the getting started graphics, the how to use reset, how to use triplex that you're sending to someone, how much money can I make? All of those things are back there. There's a great Trello page as our Trello board, as Becky had mentioned. The keyword search in there is great. Andrea gives us the Canva link. So if you need to do like a recognition graphic and you want to drop someone's face in there, you can go straight to the Canva link and make that your own. So it's so many resources. It's a really great, it's a gift really to all of us. I feel gifted. I don't care if I have to pay for it every month. I feel like it's a gift to get to pay for it. So Andrea, thank you so much. I mean, 3 pages of notes now that I have that I get to go kind of journal myself through and figure out what to implement first. But again, it won't make any difference and your points will not grow if you don't actually sit down and do the work and implement it and start the system somewhere and get to work. So thank you, Andrea. I cannot wait to see you in Vegas. I will see all of y'all very soon. Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.